Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. This platform was built by Sparkies for Sparkies. We simply exist to make business owners more profitable, or businesses more profitable and more predictable. So we want to work with people that work hard because we love working hard too, that work smart because you got to be on top of the business, people that are kind because no one likes a dickhead. Am I right? People who want results because that's what we're here for, right? And people who want to be part of a like-minded community. So if you're interested in hearing more about the platform, please reach out and enjoy the podcast. Sparky Coach Pod, Crowy here with my main man from Adelaide, Michael Centofanti. How are you?
Good.
Round two. I don't even know if I pronounced Centofanti.
Yeah, it was. I've had heaps of different ones. Centofanti when I was in primary school, that was a good one. No,
Centofanti. That's
yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, no, it's Centofanti. That's how you pronounce it.
Is it
But
really? That's super
yeah,
sexy.
yeah, it's not bad. I try to use it sometimes. So, but yeah, Centofanti. That's what everyone uses, mate, most of the time.
So good. And for anyone reaching out, what do you prefer? Michael, Mike, big Mike dog, big sexy dog,
Michael's fine. Michael's fine, or Mick,
Nick?
whatever you want to call me. All
Exciting.
good. I had a guy ask me today. Yeah, same question. I said, you call me whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
Amazing, amazing. Now, you were cracking. What were you having to drink tonight? You were having a
I haven't had it yet, so I was going to wait for you. But this is called latte di suocera. It's milk of the mother-in-law.
milk
So
of the mother-in-law. Sounds
yeah,
highly inappropriate. I got a
yeah.
Stonewall cloudy pale ale,
Oh,
but
nice.
not
Yeah,
not quite
I
the
did a
milk
job
of
for
the
this.
mother-in-law, but I'm
Well, I
kind of
did a job for this guy once, and I had a sore throat. And he goes, "Oh, you got to try this. It's called latte di suocera." So I tried it, and then when I went to Italy, I looked everywhere for it, and it was a bit hard to ask people in a bottle shop for the milk of the mother-in-law. But we found it. It was in a place in Naples. We found a bottle of it. So, and then my mother-in-law just got back from Italy now, and she just bought me another bottle. So I just ironically,
I love it. I love it. So good. How's how we like our best client for Coral Electrical was this billionaire and amazing human. Like I want to do a podcast on him alone. Learned so much from just observing. You know, there's people you just observe and you're like, far out, like just so good, so
yeah,
responsive, so kind, so honest, but so I don't know, just direct, but in such a human way. Anyway, he had this like unbelievable wine cellar. And so anyway, like long story short, all the tradies were like having babies and doing cool stuff and he'd always get them wine and like I never got anything from him. Never. It's just but he would take us out to the best Christmas party once a year.
yeah,
It was a time.
that's good. Yeah.
Hey,
You always get those customers every now and then, don't you? You know, those ones
yeah,
that are really well off, and you learn a lot just from having conversations with them. You know.
so much. Hey, I want to ask you something I asked heaps of people. How did you meet your best client or top two, top three, whatever?
Oh, so probably best client. I did touch on this with Cams last week, but like we're working on a commercial project, and this building supervisor, well, the commercial and the residential scene's a little bit different, the culture and everything. So we were just working real hard. Me and my guy, we had our tops on, and the guy comes up, the supervisor goes, "Who are you guys?" We're like, "Oh, we're contracting here." He goes, "Do you want to do some resi stuff? Because we got a lot of that." And he goes, "You guys got to get on it." And we're doing things like, he goes, "Oh, floor one's getting sheeted, so you need to finish that today." I'm like, "Mate, we already did it. We did it this morning." He's like, "What? You mean you did the bathrooms there?" We're like, "Yeah, we're on floor two." And so yeah, he just really loved like the efficiency, and he asked me for my cards, and he spread them around the office. Next thing, we're doing six-figure projects for that builder. So and we weren't stepping on anyone's toes because it wasn't the people we were contracting to's game either. So
Man, so good.
yeah,
I love the story. I reckon if you asked everyone how they met their top three clients, uh, if you ask 100 people, top three, that's 300 responses. I reckon you get 200 different responses. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, it's so cool. I think it just goes to show that you can't take any form of uh,
no,
client
like
interaction for granted, whether you're well, I remember one of our best clients I met. I was back from a trip in Europe, no money. My best mate calls me and he's like, I need some work done at my gym, right? So I'm putting in like 15-hour days at this gym, just getting it up and running, literally thinking I actually need the money. The money I could be earning here, like I
yeah,
need the money somewhere else. And anyway, so this builder walks up and says, "Oh, did you get this? Like pretty much what you just said. Did you get this done in today?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, well, can you come do some work for us?" And that was it. Like we got in with this sort of builder who ended up doing a whole bunch of pub renovations. Like that builder
Yeah,
was a little bit frustrating to deal with at times, as like most, not say most clients are, but everyone has something. Someone's got
yeah,
something going on at some point, and you should be able to work in with people, but they have so much work. Maybe second or third best client, but insane amount of workload from just like
yeah.
volunteering, you know?
Yeah, it's so good, you know, like that's the best thing about being in business is that you're, you know, you're always on the look for new things, you know, like you always say, either hustling for work or hustling for staff, you know, and you know, you're in the right place at the right time and they see your work and that's it, you know, you've got a long, we had that like a bakery that I think I've told you that bakery story before, you know, it was the 26th or whatever it was, 23rd of December, you know, and I was doing this job, I had to finish this off. I was going to take my, well, girlfriend at the time to the beach because I had another job to do by the beach. And I got a call from this guy and he goes, "Oh, I need you to go out to this bakery." And it was like the local bakery. It was like real big, probably the biggest bakery in the area. And he goes, "Oh, they've got a phase out, you know, and there's a bakery. It's like, you know, right before Christmas, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, fuck, do I go or do I take Christy to the beach? So I told the guy I was on site with, and I just said, "Hey, look, I really got to go. I got an emergency job that came up." And I called Christy. I was like, "Hey, we're going to the beach, but it won't be till 8 o'clock."
Tomorrow.
Yeah, so and long story short, I ended up doing that, and then we ended up getting like a 200 amp upgrade, and man, I would have been probably 24 years old back then, and 9 years now we've been working for the bakery, you know,
So
and all the investment properties, everything that they've owned on top of that, you know, they've been one of my biggest customers, and so same thing like that. You're talking about that billionaire guy, it's like the bakery guy's been like that for me, you know, not billionaire. But you know, the knowledge and the business skills and everything, I just learned so much from him as well. So
yeah, I think that's one thing that's so underrated. Like, your best client usually is, to some extent, look, it's a subjective word, but well off. And
yeah,
well off usually means they run a business or multiple businesses and they have a property or multiple properties. And then they have multiple friends in the same boat as them as well. So sometimes, like, if you miss a window with a client, you don't just miss the window with that client, you miss the window with everyone they know. It's just the importance of doing the right thing time in, time out. Like I often suggest to people, if you just did the right thing, if you were just legit for 10 years, you'd be sweet. You know, if you did a
yeah,
good product, no one's expecting you not to make money. Did a good product, made some money, were honest, kind, reliable, did what you said you were going to do, turned up on time, made sure the job was to code, made sure everyone was cared for, heard about, like, and now every variation happened legit and was actually a thing and organized, and invoices were at a regular time frame. If you just did everything right for 10 years, you'd have the sickest business. And
yeah,
because you'd be exposed to the right people. And the right people know when they find someone, they know because they've seen some junk in the trunk. But wanting to talk today about in and around administration, like you're a bit of a process lord. I don't
yeah,
have that. I don't have that in me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like not saying I don't cross into that area. Not saying you don't
yeah,
cross into my area bits and pieces, but you are, well, observation, incredibly driven, incredibly motivated, but incredibly process driven. And you will do something about it. You'll find better ways. You even sent something to me the other day about our calculator, and I just love the motivation. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
bigger than anything, I'm like, I like the. It's not hustle. It's just like, it's not care. It's not even diligence. It's not even hard work. It's borderline obsession. And I feel
yeah,
the same way about my work. I'm like, I love it. Like I just love it.
yeah,
I'm reading books, trying to get better, changing things on a spreadsheet. I'm obsessing about the most minor detail in the spreadsheet, which no one would even care about. But I know it could be better, and it's frustrating me. And I'm like, God, just get better.
yeah.
But yeah, what is that? What is that in you? Because
Well, I
it's
think,
not a common thing, you know?
yeah, like I like to think like regarding the processes and stuff, like I come from, you know, my boss was very systematic with the way he worked. And again, you call him, he's always your boss. I haven't worked for him for 10 years, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, man, we'd have spade bit, you know, the drill bits. As soon as it went blunt, as soon as you hit one nail, bang, front seat of the van, soon as you got home, back to the workshop, bang, sharpen the drill bits, put them back in the toolbox. As soon as the battery was dead, bang, in the front seat of the car. And then, it was, so I sort of got brought up with that, through my apprenticeship. And like my family, they've all pretty processed, like the way they are. But I'm a people person as well, so a processy people person. I don't know. And I'm just always looking for the better way to do it. I never feel done, do you know what I mean? Like, you never feel like anything's ever been finished and you can always improve it. So
I think it's interesting, right? Like when you're working for people and you care about people, like if you really care about people, and I feel like that with Sparky Coach, like the product, if the product's really good, the people will keep coming back. But if the product's really good, the people will get a result. And the better the product is, hopefully the better the result is. And I feel like the genuine care for the customer is so overlooked in a world where everyone wants to make money. And I'm not against making money. I love that. That's the calculator is literally built around making money. But when your genuine care is, let's make the product so good. I was thinking about this today. Someone asked me, like, what do I want for Sparky Coach? I think Cam asked me. And I was like, I want, if someone left, that they would say, I miss these guys. That's like, which is genuinely like, and why would they miss us?
yeah,
They would,
you'll definitely get FOMO, eh? Like,
yeah, but they'll miss the product. They'll miss like, I miss
yeah,
that help desk or the spreadsheet or the way you guys like coach those numbers. Like, but I reckon if the obsession is on the product and the whole point of the product is to make the customer journey better, that's a great position to be in, and your obsession with admin, like as a business owner, your product is holistic, right? Like your product is, it's not just the on-site board anymore. Like pretty much 100% of electricians can upgrade a board, but can they answer the phone at a reasonable time frame? Can they schedule the job in? Can they turn up on time with the right materials? And can their invoice match the quote that they sent without any crazy variations? Can they honor a callback? Can they turn around and in 2 weeks' time come back and put that pendant light in for your daughter's birthday? It's got to be done relatively urgently. Like can they get everything from the original phone calls to the Google review is part of your product. And I think when you understand that and understand the customer's going to return to a good product and they're going to steer away from a negative product, I'm not saying you can't make mistakes, of course not, but like you can get better. So yeah, that's what I think. And that's what I love about your sort of process. It's like, how do you make the product better? So
it was just always looking for a better way, and it comes back to what we were talking about the other day, working out your values and establishing like what you actually want out of your company, like what you want your company to stand for, and ours is like, we like to be proactive. We tell before we get asked, we're consistent. So like we all do the same thing, like we all use blue tape, we will label the same, as much as you can. Because there's nothing worse than like, trying to work out what someone else did. If the goal is anyone should be able to take over someone else's first fix, So yeah, stuff like that, and like we empower each other. So we just make sure that the teams, we do things to teach the apprentices. We don't just give them shit all the time, which you always do, but like, give them an opportunity to learn properly and actually teach them. Don't just get them to be a labourer. There are three main ones like that we work on, and also being purposeful, knowing why you're running a cable, like why are you running this? A Cat 6 has gone from here to there. You can tell anyone to do that, but they need to know what it's doing, so they know how to make decisions on it.
Well, it's interesting you share about the purposeful thing, because I love to talk about job notes, and everyone's like, how do you get your staff members to submit job notes? And admittedly, like to sit here from an office and with a beer in my hand, going like, this is how you it's highly
honestly, man, I probably, I don't know, touch wood, I haven't had a problem with that.
But I think that's my point. My point is that when I would say our company was pretty good on job notes, but I was incredibly letting them in. I'm like, it's not a job note. It is. It's a job note to make sure the invoice is correct or the job is measured correctly. If the job is measured correctly and we can measure everything and we're profitable, you can earn more money. If the invoice matches what actually happened on site, if the variation matches actually what happened, and that's correct, that is a absolute, like, that's full circle product. So I think recognizing that people are just part of the process. Your site work is not the be all and end all. Like you don't have the site work without the phone call being answered, without the client being, the client being sort of looked after and cared for and nurtured and found in that point. You don't have a job without the quote being sent on time, without me going to site and having a look at it. You don't have a job without all this lead up work. And then and the company doesn't have any money without an invoice sent. And if the invoice is sent wrong 3 times, you lose a client. So the importance of you holding a job is the importance of me sending the correct invoice. And if essentially, you peel it back holistically, the more money the company makes, the more money the staff member can make. That's essentially right. Like if you want to earn more money, you make me some more money. And that's business in a nutshell. So I think when people understand that full circle, like I just don't want your variations because I've got a deadline to meet at 4 p.m. every afternoon. I want them because the product is that the client, no client would ever be shocked at an invoice because the product was like the invoice is sent every single Monday, rain, hail, shine, hurricane, cyclone, insert natural disaster here. Like that, that was holistic.
Because 2 weeks later, no one cares. Like everyone's over it. Monday's even too late when you think about it. But that's how, we're the same. I'm doing Tuesdays now just to give us a bit of extra time. But public holidays. So.
Lots of people do Tuesdays. I would say since our mantra is obviously like close the week on the Monday, I would say 80% of people are doing Tuesdays. Yeah. So why do you find
my VA's doing it every Tuesday to close the week?
Yeah.
And because I'll try to send all the invoices by that time, and then he does it on Tuesday. Tuesday, last job of the day. He does the full close of the week, and then we go from there.
Yeah. So I want to touch on this because a couple of things. I want to get into the virtual assistant, which is the VA, and I want to get into the admin land, and I want to get into the process and system land because I think process and system. We talk
about this all the time. Yeah,
it's such an overcoached thing. Like, you don't have processes and systems to sign up to my 9-step pathway for the system enlightenment.
I thought they're up to 11 now.
Yeah. Nine
trucks.
It's like somehow it should be getting less systems, but getting more. But I think it's the most overcoached word, systems and process, when in fact a system, essentially peeling it back, is just a non-negotiable that must happen in your business every week to ensure it's profitable, really. So it might be like, that can be anything from every 3 months we catch up with a staff member to make sure they're okay to check in. That's a system, right? A system is invoices get sent by Monday or Tuesday from last week. Variations get sent on site, or worst case, Monday or Tuesday. So I think system is such a word where everyone's like, I want systems. And I reckon you only really need a few of them, really. I think
you really do. You just need like you said, an invoicing process. And anyway, I don't know if you remember me telling you this, but I went to the bank to go transfer some money for a property. And I went in there, and the CBA at Campbelltown, it's like, you know everyone that goes in there, So walk in, and no bullshit, I reckon I was in there for about 1 hour, and I brought my tablet in, doing a bit of paperwork while I was waiting, and bumped into probably about 4 or 5 people there. And every single person that walked in was pissed off before they walked in, and pissed off when they were getting served, and pissed off when they were walking out. And I saw everyone, hey, how you going? I'm at the fucking bank today. Oh, this and that. Took an RDO to come to the fucking bank here all day. Everyone was peaking. And then when everyone left, and I went in, this and that, I got in the car and I was like, fuck. I just went into a systemized place and everyone's pissed off. Everyone that went in, sorry, there's a 45-minute wait. Oh, you need to speak to this person. But why can't I just put my fucking money in the coin machine? Oh, you need so-and-so to then turn that on and then press this and then press that. Everyone was peaking. And it was like such simple things that people probably just need to take $100 out, and the ATM machine wasn't working. And I was thinking, I just went into the most systemized place ever. Why the fuck would I want my business to be like that? Everyone left pissed off.
That's so interesting. And I think I would say we care about systems as much as each other, but we get there and we get to the same position in unique ways. I would say.
I like to just have a process for most things, like when you're doing a new home, say when you're doing, everyone says, new homes aren't profitable. There's no money in it. And I've been doing them for years and they are profitable. You just need to have a good process. You can't treat it like a service job where you go there at 10 o'clock, people go get coffees and they leave, come back. You need to go there at 7 and finish what you're doing there. Have your right process, have a good checklist for it, make sure you get everything done at your rough-in stage. don't leave your 150 mil ducting. Oh, I'll do it later, or we put the aerial on it, rough it,
We put
Um,
it on no roof. No, I didn't imagine that.
but do you know what I mean? Like, just
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
good but be flexible with it. Like, you know what? We couldn't do it today. We'll do that later. We'll go on the roof later and do it. Like, have a process built for it, but be flexible with it.
Yeah, and
You know?
I love the be flexible part because it's like you often see people. The system is it's a great idea, but when your company is over systemed, and it's like you have to ask every single staff member at the end of job checklist at all your service jobs, they put the roof tiles back on. Like you
Yeah.
come too far at that point. It's I've never left a roof tile off, and I'm sure like most people haven't. Not saying there'd be a blemish on my character if that had happened, but like when you're asking dumb questions, you can expect annoyance. You know,
Like I told you the story before, like we're having a chat about employment contracts. Like, I don't have any for my staff. Like, what do they need to know? Like, that Netflix no rules that you recommended.
that's a
Do I
great
need,
book, isn't
do I
it?
need to tell them to rock up on time? That they have to be there at 7? Like, that's part of isn't that just common sense? Like, do I have to tell them? Do you know what I mean? Like, do we need to like have, like, what I'm trying to get at here is have your processes, but you don't need to have a process for something stupid like you
You
need to
don't
be
have
on
like
site
we
at
only use
7 o'clock and you
yeah,
need
we
to
only
be
use
work.
25 mil speedballs here.
Look,
When you
yeah,
use 25 mil speedballs, like who cares? Like that's the goal, but it's not. No one's gonna die if you use a 20 mil.
yeah,
Like, cables
yeah.
will get burnt though. Always use 25 if you're listening. Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's so interesting. But I think when you have systems or processes of a dumb stuff, you can expect good staff to get pretty annoyed. So the goal is to run. The goal for me of any system is to make sure your product is consistent, so the client knows what to expect. When the client knows what to expect, you can expect them to be happy. So if they're like, "Oh, the invoice will be in my inbox by midday Monday," whether it's
Yeah,
9 a.m., 12 p.m., whatever, it's like it is what it says and it is what it is and it does what it says. Like that's what it that's the point of it. That the rough-in will be completed the same, regardless of who's doing it, that it would be pretty much the same product as close as possible to, without human error. That's the purpose of a system. So
it's like I don't know if you've read the E-Myth before.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you know that bit when he's talking about when he got the haircut and he goes in for the haircut and then it's like the best service. She brings him a drink and then he gets this, does only scissor cut, blah blah blah. Loved it. Was like didn't care that it was this premium haircut. And then he went back there again in like a month and like she didn't bring him the drink. She was doing this. He used the scissors, he used the clippers, this that, and then it was still this good haircut, but the system like the process wasn't the same. Then he went in again and the lady wasn't even anywhere to be seen. She was running around, and he didn't have the same experience 3 times in a row. And he was let down the second time because he had such a good service the first time. And he just felt so let down the second time, even though he got a pretty similar product at the end.
It's really interesting. I've been on this hell-bent train of thought this week, and it's how many invoices can you send before you lose the client? Like wrong. How many wrong invoices can you send? Probably
Not many.
3. Like, one major one, you lost it. 3 blemishes, that's a blemish on the character, right? How many mistakes can you make on site without losing a client?
Yeah.
3 a year, probably 3 a year, minor, and probably 1 major one, and you cooked. So it's like you're always teetering on that edge of like pleasing, do good, please client, get repeat work, do bad, annoy client. And this is essentially, I think, why the mum and dad work is preached so heavily, because you're not so punished for your mistakes. In a recurring client, you are incredibly penalized you're on your best behavior all the time. You're
Yeah.
incredibly penalized for making 1 bad decision or 2 bad, and make 3 of them in a row, you're fully cooked. You lose a client. So it's like, it actually takes like a higher road. I don't even know what the right terminology is, but you've got to be more, ironically, you would think it's the opposite, but it's not. With a long-term client, you've got to be more diligent. You've got to be more consistent. You've got to be more thorough, because there's a lot at stake. And I think business operates best when all parties win. When
Yeah.
you're winning and making money and the client's winning and getting a good service, that's a deal. Like that's the kind of deal you want to sort of park yourself next to.
When the staff aren't making mistakes and they're getting stuff done in the allocated time, again, the company's being profitable. And when they come to you, say, I want a pay rise or I want more money, you can go back on the job notes and go look back on all the stuff, everything going well, and like, yeah, fuck no, let's do it. Or you can offer it to them, your one every year, So
Yeah, it's a huge one. So back to the systems and processes, which is it reminds me of the Who, like ego is not a dirty word, but systems not a dirty word because it feels a bit dirty and a bit tainted. But like for you, I want to talk about a couple of things. You'd be like probably within our program upper echelon switched on in terms of organization, which I think is huge in the back end, which is a huge compliment to you. And and but what does a system or process mean to you? Like what's the concepts and what are you trying to achieve? So by doing all the roughing checklists, what are you hoping to achieve by creating a good system?
well, a couple of things. The one thing we like to look at is we're more of like a check over kind of company. I don't really like the idea of like, oh, I just fit this off, tick. I just did this, tick. I just did that. I like the idea of, all right, you finished everything. Just make sure that you didn't miss anything, you know? And, we've got a little box at the bottom of the checklist that says anything you could do to improve this checklist, anything you want to change. Because again, it's not my checklist, it's their checklist. We don't need one. People like, we don't need a checklist. We're going to be thinking about it at 5 o'clock in the morning, when we wake up. I've got to put the roof tile up. We're going to remember that,
I'll just stop you. I'll stop you right there because I think this is where most people go wrong. Business owners forget how good they are because I don't need a rough and checklist. I've been looking at the plan since February. I quoted
exactly.
revision 1, revision 2, revision 3. I'm on revision D. I know I just changed from 3 to D, but go with me.
Yeah.
I've walked through with the client and the variations. I can map it out in my head. I'm aware of what needs to happen because I know it's in my best interest, but I care a lot about my job too. So I'm going to do the aerial before, this is actually funny. I remember going on this, my mate did an upstairs extension and we roughed it all in. And I remember looking at this aerial and the scaffold was up and I'm like, I don't have time. I should come back tomorrow, but I'm too busy. And then, and I remember,
just like that.
yeah, I remember going and it was sketchy, like it was 2.5 stories high. It was this like real heavy pitch roof, and it was in the middle of nowhere, and you couldn't even get a ladder up safely. And I'm like, I'll just do it later. You know how crazy you get when you're busy? I'm like crazy.
I'll just do it later. I know the feeling, yeah.
Yeah, I was crazy. And then, and I remember just going, come back later, scaffs down. And what would have taken me, swear to God, like an hour with a scaffold up and also being hyper safe, took me and an apprentice like 4 or 5 hours to get this psycho level, like actually quite dangerous aerial up where I'd actually left the cable at a ventilation grill, which I had to pop down to get to the cable to see where everything was, to map it out, to put a timber in. It was so ridiculous in nature. Like if I'm talking to you about it during that time, then this is where the benefit of business coaching comes in. If I was talking to you about it, you'd be like, man, that sounds crazy. Like, are you okay? But when you're busy and go on turbo, it's no good. But anyway, like it's a process of me going like, and here's the thing, if I was, so two things in here I think is important to take away. Business owners forget how good they are and how thorough they are. Secondly, business owners forget how emotional they can be with decisions. Like if that was my employee, I would have never allowed them to come back and they called me. Like, I'm going to leave the area till later. I'd be like, oh no, that's going to cost me too much money. You can't do that. But that's going to be unsafe. You can't do that. So I think as business owners, if you've got time, you're amazing. If you've got no time, I'm not going to say you cut corners because that's not the right terminology, but you can make emotional decisions about something that should be pretty clinical,
This business coach I once knew said to me, you should really treat yourself like you're the operations manager of your own company.
Did I say that?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
I've tried to make decisions like that, just little things like there's this fucking thing on the list that we need to buy. And I just keep saying like, oh, I want to do a minimum order because I don't want to pay the $3 postage, you know? And it's just like, just get it. It's going to cost you more when, when you need it. So the other night I just went on Screws and paid for this one box. It was like 50 something, you know?
So
And, you know, but you're making these emotional decisions just because I would do it in a bulk order, but then the headspace of looking at that every week when you're doing your orders, you know, you'd have been better off just ordering it 2 weeks ago instead of looking at it every week. So
yeah, it's amazing when you can put, and even that's a system in itself. Like it's like you want to process, like treat yourself like you can't make emotional decisions. How would you act if you were responsible to the business owner? And I think the coolest thing, I was so fortunate to see when I was like coming out on my own and subcontracting a bit back and forth, this guy I was subcontracting to, I can't actually remember his name. It was Dave Mackay. Shout out to Dave, wherever you are. And I think he moved like rural. But he was doing some work, and I took over his business. It was like 2 people, but I was, at that stage that was a big deal for me. And for like 2 weeks, by the way, I might
yeah,
and I had to quote this job, and I quoted it for profit, and I remember quoting it, and it was higher than I would have done for myself, but it got accepted, and we did it, and it was quite profitable. And then I was like, oh, that was actually easier to quote it like that because I wasn't emotional. I was accountable to like a higher
yeah,
on a pyramid scheme. Like I can't get this wrong because it's not the right thing to do. It's not in my best interest. It's not a good decision. So that was a huge moment for me. I think really fortunate to learn that early on. But anyway, I interrupted you from the
no problem.
can't remember what we're talking
Do
about.
this all the time. Yeah, what we're saying.
But
Look, but with the systems thing, like, man, when I started, you know, probably for the first few years, I was doing everything in a paper diary. You know, everything was in a paper diary. I was writing everything, the jobs down, you know, and then writing down what I used, everything like that, and then just sit down at the end of every week or month and just write up all the invoices, you know. Do it. I had zero back then as well, you know, and I was just doing it all like that. And my wife, or girlfriend at the time, she's an accountant, and she was just like, I don't understand how the fuck you do this. This is just ridiculous. There's a book here for your jobs, and there's a book here for that. There's a book here for that. And then, she'd email me things, and I had a Hotmail address, you know, mcentofanti@hotmail.com was my business email for like 3 years. And so she would email me stuff, and I'd just ring her, and she goes, no, you need to if you want to run a proper business, you need to start acting like a business owner, you know. And then, because I was just doing a bit of trade for hours with my cousin, and, you know, we were doing jobs, invoicing once a month. So she started emailing me stuff, and she's like, if you ring me or message me about this stuff, I'm not going to answer it. You have to email it. So I'd go home like this, typing. I wasn't really keen on the computer. And then, and she got me really good at the whole email thing and how to look after your inbox. And like, you know, I was one of those guys with say 1,000 unread emails, probably more. You know, if I go back to that Hotmail address, I've probably still got like 20,000. You know?
yeah,
I think she was the beginning for me for like getting
yeah,
into that whole, you got to get your admin together.
yeah.
And then whereas now she's the opposite. Oh, we're the opposite now. It's like I'm the accountant of the family and she's the tradie, you know? So it's,
Yeah, it's interesting. So I had a business coach 2015, just like a dude from my BNI surfer guy. He was a legend. And it was so interesting to have that external eyes. Like someone really benefited from that. Someone outside the trades looking in. I think that's formed a lot of me in terms of when someone outside your world, especially outside of the trade world, looking in, going like, this is crazy,
yeah,
And I'm like,
it's not
oh,
normal. It's
he's
not
like,
normal.
you don't respond to emails, like you're not checking you're not checking your quarter, like you're not looking at this and you're not looking at these metrics. And I'm like, it's something that's relatively, I mean, you think about it logistically, we're just electricians. You throw some cables in and, you loop the power in out and your light has a break in it.
Red
So
to black, stand the fuck
switch, just
back.
how the
Yeah,
switch works, right?
yeah,
Like, and it's like, it's a learnt skill, but then you start a business because you're good at throwing cables around. Like it's not an ideal formula. You wouldn't say.
no, it's not. And, you know, like we always talk about this, I think I started way too young. I started at 23 and, you know, like with no real business, all I knew was all my family were all sole traders. Like my dad, you know, he had a couple of workers, but used subbies and stuff. My cousin was a sole trader, Sparky. My brothers were all sole trader, plumber, Tyler, all that stuff. So I didn't really have anyone that had any more than, say one or two staff around me. So I just thought that's just what you did. And they all complained about the same things. Oh, these people didn't pay, or this is that, or. And then as you get a bit older, you start thinking, fuck, these people just have never had like a process for anything, like
Yeah.
sent them a variation bill. Oh, they owe
Yeah.
me 10 grand for this variation. Or, and you start deciphering it like, after talking to you about stuff, and you're like, that's why.
Yeah.
That's,
I always think it's funny because I always like people at the pub going, I didn't pay him my 10 grand invoice. It's like, yeah, because your 10 grand invoice was 3 months late and it was 7 grand more than you said it was going to be. So it's like most people I know wouldn't pay that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like if as especially coming from like I'm what 41 now. So come through like some development, some renovations. Like I know how frustrating it is when a tradie can't communicate. And when they this I got sent this 10 grand invoice. I won't say what trade it was. This 10 grand variation invoice. And I'm like, what's this? Like, where did this even I don't even know about this. The worst part about it is I paid it. That's the worst part. That's the worst thing as an end user. I'll pay that because it's not worth my time fighting that. And now I will never use that person again and I will speak negatively about them forever. You know what I mean? It's like, it's
yeah,
so bad. You can't just do that to people. But when people get their back up and like fight against it, and the tradie's like, well, no, it's not my problem. But anyway, back to the systems processes, because you would be one of the most process driven people that I know. Um, what inspires you to put them together? You've built checklists like the rough-in checklist, the fit-off checklist. You got a great admin checklist for what's
yeah,
non-negotiable for the week. You've quite organized in ClickUp using. Is
yeah,
it
yeah. Using
ClickUp?
ClickUp, yeah, we got that. We've basically got like my admin or my VA has got a week like of what they need to do, and we basically have it all planned out. But again, we're flexible. We have the non-negotiable things that need to be done, which is obviously closing the day. He gets in. Well, wait, I'll tell you what he does in the morning. He gets in the morning. He actually goes for a walk and listens to an audiobook. I just told him go for a walk, start learning about the business. So at least they know what we're listening to and what we're into. Goes, does that, jumps in on emails, zeroes the inbox from anything from overnight, jumps in, looks at the job cards, plans his day, then sends me a message, say, hey, good morning. This is what I'm doing today. I'm doing this, doing that. Anything else you need me to do? And then goes through, does all the job cards, prepares any quotes or small service quotes or invoices, anything else like that, orders any parts for the net that are required, and then just works on stuff, whatever needs to be done to push the thing forward. So a lot of those checklists he built, like just things that like I've just said, hey, word vomit things, and then he just builds them for me, and knows what needs to be done. And now like we've gotten to a point now where like, he looks after my emails. We had these guys doing underground for us, and the rule is as soon as the underground's finished, take some photos of it, and then if you need to update the plan, update it. It's got to a point now where like we just send photos of what happened. He'll just change the underground layout and ground plan. And like so when you do your as built at the end of the job, you're scrambling around, oh how the fuck did we do the underground? I was like, mate, it's already been done. The day after it was done, or the day it was done.
Well,
So
yeah, I was super inspired the other day when you can't remember what happened. Oh, I think you might have sent me a text, and it was or whatever on our internal communication, and you said that the VA had been doing the takeoffs and sort of recognized that, hey, there's a wall light. I don't think there's not a wall. There's no wall light in the plan, or vice versa. And they'd written a wall light in the scope of works. And he was like, hey, there's discrepancy there. And you were like, yes.
yeah,
Like, and I think that's
it's
what
good.
people
Yeah.
people underestimate in admin. The it
Well,
takes time. It takes time to people to
he
learn it.
he picked up just in like because when you're doing your takeoffs, he picked up like probably about $1,500 worth of mistakes like on takeoffs, and that's just paid itself off, the like sleeves in the slab that got missed, I missed it, and he went and checked it all when he was punching it all in. Oh, we missed the sleeves in the slab, you know. So now I've gotten to a point where like he pretty much looks after all the takeoffs, and in ground plan now you can put comments on it. So he'll just write a comment. If he's got any questions, sends me a message, go into ground plan tonight, have a look. So my 1 hour takeoff now is, well, to do, say, a big job is now a 10, 15 minute job.
So good.
So,
Now, what advice would you have? Because I know a lot of people teeter on the edge of hiring an admin or not. You know, you sort of you recognize that. I think if you stopped and like took stock of everything, you'd be like, wow, it's so silly that I could pay someone, you know, a general admin is what, $35 an hour, and operations
Yeah.
is like 45, and a VA is probably 10-ish.
Yeah, about 10, 15, yeah.
A VA being virtual assistant, obviously. So you know, a lot of times the opportunity costs of doing that work, the mundane, I'm gonna call it low level. I don't mean like that. I mean, you can earn more money elsewhere. There's a
Yeah.
huge opportunity cost across like if you were anywhere in the world and you said, all right, I've got this work to do, I can either I can either do it, I could replace myself for $35 or go earn 120. No one in the world is going to say
It's a
like
no-brainer. Yeah.
it's absolutely psycho that anyone would think that you would differentiate from that 120. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like so what advice would you have? Like how did you find releasing your admin? Was it easy? Was it normal? Like you read a lot of books, you had a lot
Look,
of business coaching beforehand. Like so you're in that sort of world of
yeah, well, look, to be honest,
self-development, you
like
know?
last year was probably my first year doing any coaching. And then I sort of left that to come to you guys. It was a non trade, but they say they're trade based, but they weren't really trade based. It was sort of,
I,
and then,
I know the name. I don't want to name it, but like it's just funny
yeah,
that it's
yeah,
funny how
it's just,
specific we are. Hey, like we're such a unique.
oh, it was
Yeah.
just like, I remember, I think I told the person that recommended him to me, I said, man, I'm not really happy with these guys. And he recommended you guys, and then jumped on a session where he did a beastimator with you. And then I reckon probably about a month later, the coach that I said is, all right, well, let's talk about your revenue targets. He went into my MyOb and extracted some numbers and then just like, all right, so how much do you want to make? So we need to make this much per month. And I'm thinking, like, this isn't a fucking beastimator. What the fuck? What am I doing here? And then I ended up leaving pretty much straight after that. And look, I did get value from it. There was some value, but it wasn't the value that I needed. But on the point of releasing admin, it's taken me a long, long time to do it. I've probably been trying for about 3 years, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Like, one thing could be this way, and it'll be that way, but I'll still pick one way that was the wrong way. I don't know, one of those people. Real particular with little things like we're talking the double slash, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, yeah, so you just get a little bit fussy, but I think the first thing you need to do is just make a job card. Like, there's all these things, Service Mate, Simpro, there's like all these fucking things everywhere. But like Cameron always said, he's like, what do you really need to know? What did you do that day? What did you use? Is there anything left to do? And send some photos. There's not really that much. I think probably about 5 or 6 things you need to know from that staff member. So rather than trying to get them to like punch the material into here, what's the part number? They put a medical PowerPoint instead of a C2025, and then there's $100, $100 PowerPoints. Just get the boys to do what they're good at, being tradies, and just give the admin the work to do. Like old school, write it on a piece of paper. Now we've got a phone, just put it in your app. Get them to fill out a form with what they did that day. And to be honest, I haven't had any problems in probably about 2 to 3 months. Aaron, like my VA, he sends a message out. He checks every day at 10 o'clock, roughly 9:30, 10 o'clock, and he'll just send a message out no matter what. Hey guys, job cards are all filled in, or hey guys, just chasing up so and so, and names and shames everyone who hasn't done it. Hey, Josh, will just say, I'll just use Josh's name for example. Josh, you haven't filled your job card in today. And it's in the group chat. Everyone's, hey, dickhead, you didn't do your job card. And he names and shames me. Mark, you didn't do your job card today. And the boys are, oh, fucking dickhead, you didn't do your job card.
Honestly, as he should. I caught up with someone this afternoon, and the admin couldn't send invoices because the business owner hadn't sent
Yeah,
invoice. Hadn't
yeah,
had
it's
notes
so
in.
good.
I'm like, since last Tuesday, and today's Tuesday. I'm like, that's not good enough.
Yeah, and I think that's like that was the main thing. Like, instead of trying to think about, I've got to offload invoices and this, like, not having to chase you guys up for their timesheets, it's probably been like, I'd pay anything for that. That's just been the best thing for me.
Yeah.
Because you're not the bad guy anymore asking for those. And why should we be asking for that as the business owner?
Oh
So,
man, so good. And then
yeah,
what was the process for you releasing your admin? Like to go to a virtual assistant, was it did you try anything before that
yeah.
or
So
did you try it
I did
in-house
have a
or how
lady
did
here in Adelaide help me a few times, but I didn't really want to pay like the full amount of like what I had to do, and I just didn't feel like I was, well, as you do, it's not a billable resource. It actually goes on, takes off your net, comes off the bottom line. So you don't really want to do it. You don't think to do it, but until you've actually done it and you realize you're focusing on a lot more high level stuff once
Yeah.
you get that shit out of your head, and the emails, I probably got to action maybe about 5 emails a day, compared to say 50, so and it's all about freeing up your headspace, and you can make better decisions as well when you're not thinking
Yeah.
about that.
It's I often think, and one thing I talk about a lot, and you probably wouldn't understand, like not you, but like people listening might not understand unless your head's right in a calculator. You can have an overhead of, let's say, $25 an hour, which is relatively low per person per hour. And then you could have that, but you look at it holistically on the beast estimator, which I love that that's just become like classic terminology, like the beast estimator is our like
Yeah.
forecaster,
My wife hates it. Every
our
time I'm talking, like, yeah,
yeah,
put a beast tomato. This is like $35 an hour
we
now.
we worship the beast estimator around here. Shout out to Brock Will from Bwed. He's in the Sunny Coast. He named it. He actually named it. So it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good. He's like, this is a beast, mate. I'm like, yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
So
it's good.
anyway, when you're looking at a $25 an hour overhead and you look at a business owner and you're like, and they've got 3 staff and no admin, I'm like, wow, you're on costing an overhead that's wrong, because it's right, in inverted commas, right. Because you're not charging, you're volunteering your admin at nighttime, Saturdays, Sundays,
Yeah,
early mornings. So realistically, if you had a 20-hour a week admin, that would free you up to do your thing well. And it would also heighten and calculate to $35 an hour or something not too dissimilar, which then you'd be on costing a correct rate. But too many people are on costing a rate that's incorrect, and then they're wondering where the money is and why they're working so hard. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's actually, when you see it in a calculator sense, you can be like, oh, I fully get it. And I have the absolute, like, I'm lucky in terms of I get to see hundreds of people's numbers and work out what's normal and what's not normal, what's abnormal and what's completely normal. So I get to see, like how everything operates. So I think that's the context I have from looking at it, going, well, why is that person's overhead low? Well, that's wrong. Why is it overhead higher? Well, that's wrong. And how do you meet in the middle at a market value, which everything on earth has a market value, you know what I mean? And the only way you get outside market value north is reputation, really. Like, how do you get really outside market value so you can charge 600 grand for a car like a Bentley? Reputation,
yeah.
right? Like that's it. And I don't know anyone paying that much extra for a trade service, like that much. Like you don't hear those stories around every corner.
Unless no one really does it, unless they can't get someone, and the supply and
No one,
demand.
the product's too consistent. You're
Yeah,
still fitting off your, more often than not, unless you're Tommy from Rye, like fitting off your $1,500 switches, which happens. It happens.
how good is Tom Ryan, eh?
He's the best.
Yeah,
He's the
he's good.
best. I
Um,
love Tommy.
but yeah, back to the like advice on people trying to offload it. I think just try to keep it as simple as possible, and just pick like 3 things and just let them do that and let them do it and let them fuck it up as well. Because if you keep telling them off for making a mistake on something, they're just going to go back to you. One of my Q1 goals was I'm looking at it now, like, was to go to Queensland with my family for my dad's 60th, and took all the kids and just turn my phone off, turn my email notifications off, divert my phone and everything like that, and I was sitting there by the pool first day. Fuck, what am I doing? I'm checking the emails, having a look at the boys. My brother's just relax. You're on holiday, just relax. You're with your kids, so just don't fuck around, just sit here. So I did it, and like, to be honest, I haven't turned on my email notification since.
So good.
It's been since March or April, so we're coming up to like nearly 6 months now, and I haven't even turned them on. But like, there was times where like some stuff would come through, and the boys purchased the wrong material, and I saw it, and I bit my tongue. Like, I was like, oh shit, they don't need a P50, they need P2. What are they doing? But I just let it go, and then it turned out that they just accidentally got the wrong thing, and they got it sorted anyway. And they all took it on. They were like proud to be like, oh, we're going to take on this business for Michael, and we're going to do it for him. and it worked really well. Aaron, yeah, they had a few hiccups, like an emergency call out. They moved jobs around. Aaron punched the work order in straight away, organized it with the client, and worked out really good.
That's
So
so good. Yeah, my advice to anyone on the edge of getting an admin is you need to look at your field to admin ratio. Like, I think there's two ways. Most people operate not on the correct parameters. Most people operate with too much admin. Like, they either operate, I need everyone to, do too. You operating like a 1-to-1, like 1 hour of site work produces 1 hour of office work, which is inherently incorrect. Or you operate way with the business owner just pushing so hard, because as a business owner, you're relatively resilient, right? And you're relatively motivated, and you're relatively like it's your product, so it's your name on the end of the line, like no matter what way you skin the cat. So you care more than anyone else. So you put yourself out to not upset the apple cart, which is the product, but that has an expiry date of mental health and health and general
once you have
lifestyle.
kids, once you have
Yeah.
kids, you can't do like what you were doing before kids, you know?
Is
It's
is
like,
that is that a benefit? I actually feel like that would be
yeah, I've definitely become a lot more efficient since I've had kids, you know, because I do bath time. Like I do, my wife cleans up and I'll go do bath with the kids and same thing. I put my phone in the office on charge. I don't look at it from probably about, I don't know, 6 o'clock up until probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then that's just 100% with the kids. But then you find yourself like being super efficient with the time you have because you're like, oh shit, I've got to get home and do bath time. You know, so you get all those emails out in the car before you get home. You just get, and then at least when you're in, you know?
yeah,
Um,
I often feel like in some ways, and this is for everyone listening, in some ways having a business, starting business before kids is a godsend, because you can push as hard as you want to relatively zero ramifications or minimal ramifications outside your social life, and that's a godsend in a way, because you can pour sweat, energy, time, effort, and I would encourage anyone to use that as your superpower if you don't have kids. On the flip side, if you do have kids, I would encourage you to use this as your superpower, that you don't have all the time in your world. You can't do whatever the hell you want to do. You've got to be home at 4 for, dinner and then bed, bath, whatever, depending on the age of your kids. But let's just say they're young. Like,
yeah,
you got to be available from like 4 till 8, you would suggest something around those parameters.
yeah,
And that could be your superpower, because it's like, it helps you to take stock and be like, well, I can't do everything, so maybe someone else could do something, and what could they do? So it
yeah.
actually, in some
And just
aspects, it can pull you back completely in the healthiest way possible. And I think both have their pros and cons,
yeah, like
really.
you could put it into the Beastometer and see how many hours you had before kids and then after kids, you know, and
Yeah,
you could see the difference because it's amazing and you know been way more profitable since having kids. Like
it's
the
interesting
amount of
because it's
hours
like
you because you just
you can't fail. Like,
yeah
I mean, not saying, I mean, of course you can fail, but like you can't afford to fail, and
you
your
got yeah.
hours actually have meaning, because it's like you got to go to bed, you have to have sleep, because you got to someone's got to get up in the
It's like
morning.
in Rocky 2. You seen Rocky 2?
I haven't seen many rookies.
Oh, you
Yeah.
haven't seen it. So Rocky 2, what happens is he has his son, and like Adrian's there, and like she's laying in the thing, and he's about to fight Apollo for the second time, and she goes to him, just do one thing, win, and then he goes ding, and then bang, montage comes in, and he's like, you know, he's just had his kid, and he's like, shit, now he's got this new wave of like motivation to train, and like she's supported him 100%, you know. So I'm in my Rocky 3 stage of my life, but yeah, that when you have kids, you go into the Rocky 2 stage.
So good. Yeah, I've been frothing on Kickboxer 1 with Tong Po. Remember Tong Po?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
shinning the ice down
Yeah,
in the basement. Hectic
and hits
level.
the what's it called? The that tree, the palm tree.
Yeah,
Bang
well, I
bang.
think in Kickboxer 1, he's shinning the ice, and then he comes and
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. The first thing before the fight. Yeah,
yeah, and he gets like this stick and snaps it. Like it's a kind of prerequisite to snapping his back.
I
But
watched Bloodsport about a month ago. Chrissy's got a rule: the movies can't be before 2000, and they have to be under 90 minutes. So I was just like, oh, Bloodsport. Oh, it only goes for 1 hour. It was made in like 2009. Got to watch. You're gonna love it.
it's so
And she's like, what
good.
the fuck is this?
Oh man, wild times. So yeah, okay. So admin is, I mean, I think we'll agree, critical to absolutely release.
Yeah.
Now, what's your favorite system that you got and operating? It might be something very simple like invoices every Monday. Like what is your favorite thing that you guys stick to? It might be closing the day from,
Yeah, I think
before.
closing the day, because you're just creating, well, you're creating the task that needs to be done. Like what I tried doing before was getting the guys in the field to fill in this and write that, do this, do that, and they don't need to be doing that. They just need to fill in admin for 5 minutes. And I think just getting that job card to Aaron and him actioning it the next day and just putting a tick next to it has been probably the best system. And I think if you're going to offload your admin, that's the first thing you should do, because that pretty much creates all the work for you.
I
Creates everything that needs to be done.
fully agree. In the they should turn up the admin should turn up depending on what time they work to. But I would say you either do it from 4 to 5 on the day that is, but it's hard when someone has overtime that day.
Yeah,
So especially hard in daylight savings. It's easy to say in winter, but when people are working till 6 and 7, my rule with overtime was if you want it, it's there. If you don't want it, it's not there. Because I feel like we had people that had multiple investment properties that wanted to work and earn money, and I had people that couldn't care less. Like put me in at the skate park or in the beach, like at the beach at 4 o'clock. That's what I want. And you have to cater to both people. I feel I worry about the people working 10-hour days, for 10-hour days. Not saying it's impossible or hard or whatever, but I think you do need to cater to all markets. You need to cater to the 4 10s. You need to cater to the 5 10s. You need to cater to the 6 10s. You need to cater to the 5 8s. Like if you
on
can be
24s, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, you need a,
But you have to be able to, and that's the benefit of having a bit of a bigger business. You've got, more options for people to work or not work, which is incredibly helpful for staff retention and staff attraction, which is so unspoken in the world. But yeah, so you've got to cater to the sort of staff members that want to work, that don't want to work. But in terms of this turning up for your admin, the first thing they should do, in my opinion, from 9 o'clock is sort of check emails, structure, set their day up. The second
yeah,
thing they should do is close the day from yesterday. Are the job notes in? Does everyone have their 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours? Like, does the carpet match the drapes? Was there any variations, any major pickups? Do the wholesale invoices come in match what's been assigned? Like
yeah,
that,
that's one of his daily things as well. Yeah,
that's actually so underrated. Most people don't talk about that. And I used to do it personally, but then I used to have an admin do it. Go through your list of, I don't know how, like, let's say we had sometimes 70 wholesaler invoices a week, and you reference, let's say 50 a month. Like, let's just blanket it at 50 a month. You know, have they all been allocated and given a home? Because in the world's best automation, there's always mistakes. And
yeah,
for us back in the Shire, we had Crow Electrical, which was me, and then we had Crowley Electrical and Crown Electrical, and swear to God, they got.
yeah.
Sometimes I'm looking at the
I'm
wholesalers.
Adelaide electrical contractors. Imagine how many times that gets fucked up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Well, we had people. I remember going through the wholesaler statement, not the invoice, it's the statement, right? When there's like 40 things there, and it's like, do they have? Does every one of these have a home? You're looking at, and there's all the purchase orders, and then there's one like random one for 7 Stewart Street. And you're like, we don't have a 7 Stewart Street. What on earth is this? And then it's like, oh, that's a Crown. Oh my gosh, it's like $500 or $1,000 or $2,000, whatever. But it's just like the point of it is you can't underestimate that stuff actually matters in the business, being thorough and caring, because as much as that one might be on your account, your one might be on their account. And that's going to come back to you at some point. So you've got to be really careful. But you close a day. Yeah, what does it mean for you guys and how do you run it?
So basically what we do is we've got within Simpro, we've got like a task, we just make a task, and we've got a script called job card. And then it's just got like a list of questions, work that was completed, the material, do you need a return, blah, blah, blah. And we just treat it like a paper job card. So it's pretty much like a digital paper job card. And I found it's worked the best because I start your timer, write this in this box, write that in that fucking box, and write this material in. I just found it's been the cleanest and best way to do it. And then Aaron knows what he's looking for, and he just checks the schedule. Is everyone's schedule locked? Does everyone confirm the hours? And whoever's the highest in the hierarchy is the one that fills in the job card. So, and look, we like I said, in 2 months we probably haven't missed one. 2 to 3 months, I reckon.
Also,
So,
so if all your staff, like let's say three are on the one job, you have the top dog fill it out.
yeah, that
Cool.
one
Yeah.
that one person does it, and then everyone else fills out their timesheet in Simpro, like this. And normally they're scheduled to it, so they just got to press tick, hours are right. And then when it comes, I used to hate, like my biggest hate was payroll day. Not because I didn't want to pay people, but because it was just such a mess. Like, oh, this hours wasn't filled in, and then you're there on a Monday night at 10 o'clock, and what the fuck's going on here? Who did what? You're messaging people because they want to get paid. And
Yeah.
like, and now since we started this system, like payroll's been so easy. It's been so
That's
easy.
so good.
Yeah, and I've offloaded that too. I just get sent the numbers to pay, and I do the pay myself, but I get sent what to pay.
Yeah, I always did the pays and super and checked invoices and sent them. Pays and super were just like ABA file, click, send. But once you have a look at it and be like, yeah, that's so good. I do feel that stuff needs to be monitored, like and controlled, especially invoice being sent. When I said this at the start of the pod, like if you send three invoices to the right client and they're wrong, you can expect some severe ramifications at that
Yeah,
point. So it's like you've really got to be careful. And if you can send it, if I send you an invoice and it's wrong, and you're like, oh my gosh, so sorry, that was
and it's an awkward
that was
conversation as
Michael.
well to bring
Yeah,
up. You
that was
feel bad
Michael.
bringing
He
it
sent
up.
that, and I'm like, oh, that was Michael. He sent that, and that was Michael. He sent that. Like, how many times can I blame you before it's like my fault? So there's certain
Yeah,
things you got to get a high level opinion over the top of. But hey, on this, I wanna. We've been like, this is an open conversation. A dirty word that has been mentioned, which is to some people a job management system, right?
yeah,
So it's like, you sort of, you know what you need now. Like you run
yeah,
a you run a business that is, long-term client focus in terms of, sort of most of your work is of a decent size. You would suggest
yeah.
you've got a
Majority
good
of it.
loyal team. You're steering. You've steered. I mean, you've seen a lot in the job management sense. You have been around traps,
Yeah.
I would suggest,
Well,
and
I've
you
had
do thorough. You do your research. So it's like,
yeah.
what if someone was starting out coming through the traps, knowing what you know now? Like you're speaking to Michael 7, 8 years ago. What would you recommend?
Oh, I think look, I had Fergus for like 3 years, and life was really simple. It was really, really simple and easy to use, and I've never felt more on top of my jobs. And moved to Simpro, and I've never felt more not on top of my jobs. But depending on your business style, like I'm in the field, and I don't ever plan. When I go to that operation, well, I am that off the tools operations manager sort of thing. I don't plan on spending all that time in the office. I plan on I think I'd go crazy if I was in the office for a full day. I need to do half days, break it up. But I think Simpro is set up that you need to be in the office to get the full use out of it and always on it in the office. But I like Fergus. Fergus was great. I've heard ServiceMate is really good as well, but I'm an Android guy, so I don't have an iPhone. That's the only reason why I didn't do ServiceMate. But Score is looking pretty good as well. They look pretty good. They can do a lot. So just depends. Depends on what you're after. And if you
Yeah,
want, send Crow your email and your phone number and book in a chat with me.
yeah. It's so interesting because I feel like Simpro has a lock, and I do feel like the reporting side of Simpro is so amazing. It really is, but 99% of people aren't using it properly to its
If,
capacity.
if you're
But
not a techie guy and you're not like right into it and you're just starting out, I wouldn't recommend Simpro because you're going to spend more time setting it up than anything. I think you need to worry about being billable. If you're with Sparky Coach and you got the beast, you got the close the week spreadsheet and you're doing that stuff, that's all the reporting you need
mm,
at this stage, And I think once you get to say that 10-man company or, and your operations manager, PMs and stuff, then Simpro is probably worth it. If you're a man on the tools or lady on the tools during the day and then Simpro at night, it's a lot of work.
yeah,
Receiving stuff and yeah.
it's interesting. I just feel like everyone's business is so different. Everyone's
My,
business
my
is.
business is very we say that I'm process and stuff, but I'm very flexible with the way I work. Every job, we're different. We treat different customers differently, and yeah, like very processy but flexible. If that, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but like I was the same.
That's
You
my personality, you know.
can only be flexible because you're processing. It's,
Yeah,
it's,
that's right. Like
it's
I
not.
like having like my week all planned out, and then if
Yeah.
somebody says like, I never had a calendar up until probably I don't know 5 years ago, or maybe probably before I had my kids and stuff. You know, I started doing a calendar properly. It was always like, yeah, I'm going there this day, and I remembered it in my head, paper diary, read it after I did it, and like it wasn't until I actually had a calendar that I just became so much more flexible. The more organized you are, the more flexible you can be.
Well, yeah, I think when people first meet me, they think I'm this like stoner guy or something like or hyper like disorganized. I'm like, no, 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 it's the opposite. Like I only can relax because I'm hyper diligent with like the main things. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's actually really interesting
you
to
don't let things take up your headspace, do you? Like you don't let things that don't really matter take it
Yeah, no,
over.
it's really interesting because I feel like anyone that's worked with me would disagree with the like would they be like, oh, it's hyper organized and really diligent, but it's just funny because it's like you can afford to relax when you're organized. I feel like
Yeah,
it's the opposite. You can't be relaxed until you're organized. So
yeah.
yeah, interesting. And what advice would you have, like someone at someone sort of like going through someone feeling disorganized in business and feeling a bit disheveled, and what would you say? What advice would you have?
I'd probably say get a piece of paper and just write down what are the things that you need to do, like that are on your head all the time and you're all over the place. Write down the things that you need to do every day, once a week, once a month, and then just put them in your calendar. Put them all in your calendar and book in times to do them and just tick them off a list. I'm a paper guy. I like, I don't know, I just like drawing and putting things on paper. I just feel like it works the best. Yeah, I think just do that. And then just book these things into your calendar that you need to do. Like, you need to send invoices, put it in your calendar. It has to be done on Monday, you know? So we have that in our checklist, like, our calendar sort of thing. That has to be done. So I think just do that, get that done. And if you want to look at task management software, look at putting it in something like that. But I think a Google Calendar or a piece of paper on your desk, you can't beat it.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
so interesting you say that because I caught up with someone today who was feeling like my biggest thing with that close of the week spreadsheet is that you got to do it and then be like, what's the one biggest blockage or bottleneck, and then get that out of the way and then move into the next week. But this person wasn't up to date on the invoicing, and I was like, well, I don't even want to. I'm not starting close the week until you catch up on your invoicing from 4 weeks ago. Like, there's no
Yeah.
point. There's no point us doing this. So I was like, always looking at like what's the biggest bottleneck in the way and get rid of that, and then we'll close the week, right? So in his case, it's invoicing. So in his case, it was like, well, I feel that I don't have time, and I'm like, well, you have to make time. So, in a perfect world, let's scrap the workload. Let's scrap what you've got to do every week. Let's scrap your site work. What does a perfect week look like? It's like 3 days in the office. I'm like, well, sweet. How many are you getting? Half a day. I'm like, okay, well, that's why we're behind here, because you're prioritizing the site work over the office work, and you're prioritizing, you're sort of driving a car without petrol. Like the office work's going to be putting the petrol in the car
Yeah.
to drive that's the petrol driving the business vehicle, right? So it was so interesting to reference, and so we sort of designed we you got to catch up first and foremost. If you're behind, it's going to cost you time to catch up, but you've got to catch up and then you can close the week from there. But it's so interesting you say that about like the work out what has to get done, what's non-negotiables, put in your calendar, and then you look at the calendar and you're like, well, of those non-negotiables, what do I physically have to be a part of? And you look at invoicing and you're like, well, technically, I don't really need to prepare the invoice. Technically, I just need to approve it and send it. So that
Yeah.
takes you out of 75% of the invoicing. So when invoicing is 1 day a week, that takes you out of 6 hours of it. So now you can get someone to do 6 and you're doing 2. When invoicing is 2 days a week, someone can do 1.5 days of that, and you can do the final 4 hours. So it's so interesting to reference like that. But I think that so many people aren't doing the bare minimum, which is checking invoices, sending invoices on time, sending variations on time. turning up where they say they're going to be. I think the bar
Yeah,
is
it's
so
just the
low.
basics. Yeah, and it's not pretty. It's not exciting. The simple stuff, is it? Like it's. But once you actually start getting that simple stuff done, then you can actually go on a holiday. You know, you can actually go on a holiday and have someone else look after things. And what I do every Sunday, I go in the office. You know, I'll train in the gym in the morning, go do some stuff outside before the kids wake up, and then they'll get up, have breakfast, and I go in my office for probably about half an hour to 45 minutes, vacuum it all, clean it all, get it all clean, get rid of all the notes off your desk, chuck it all out, and just pretty much write on my whiteboard what's the one thing that I need to get done this week. That's it. Or look at the things like I've got a list that's sitting there, and I just write that on my whiteboard, and then whenever I'm fucking around, you know, thinking about something else, I can know that's the thing that I need to get done. And just put aside 2 hours a week or 1 hour a week to the one system that you want to build or that one thing that you need to do. It might be a quote. It might be like, I've got to do this project and I need to build all these pre-builds for it. Just build them when you're doing that project. You know, spend 2 hours on it and just get it done.
Man, it's so good. And how do
Yeah.
you recognize what the most important thing is to get done? Like how do you personally do that?
I don't know. I just sort of pick something. I've just got a list and just pick whichever one I want to do. How do you recognize it? I think the one that's given you the most trouble. You know, like if cash flow is an issue, why is a cash flow an issue? You're not sending bills on time. So that you need a system for invoicing, don't you? So whatever is the biggest problem that's popping up, I think is the one that you need the system for and to work on.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because I feel like with people, cash flow is
Like
a
if
big thing
you're,
that comes up, and it's like, well, the cash flow was an issue because the cash is never flowing in the first place. It was like,
well, I thought I had cash flow problems before I met you guys. And all it was I wasn't closing off my month. That's all it was. And it's fixed everything. Like I was working, you know, I was too busy to send the bills, but the rule's got to be by the end of the month, you got to get everything out, you know. And then that last Monday, well, I do it on the first Monday of every month. I just make sure that everything's sent off. So if I've gone and done something little for you, and then it's like we've got to come back to do one little thing, just bill it, you know. The month
it's
needs to be cleaned up. 'Cause then Angela's going to be breaking your balls. What happened here? So like you got someone to, yeah. Not
yeah.
break people, which is lovely, but you know, you want to make sure that you're doing it all. That's what you're doing
Well,
it for.
if you're listening back, Angela's our in-house accountant who's so unbelievably lovely, but like
Yeah,
she'll tell you if you've done something wrong. Like
yeah, yeah.
I'm a big fan of that personality type that just calls it how it
Good.
is.
No, you want to impress her. You want her to like, you know, be like, well done, you've done good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so good. And what encouragement do you have for people? Someone feeling lost, like that. Where would you start? Is it as simple as what you said? Start at the pain point. Is that the start?
I think get the day-to-day things that you can offload and start getting ready to offload some stuff. If you're in business, we're not in it to be, I don't know, I feel like if we're going into business, you're in it to grow and to make more money. Then, you know, you don't want to be making what wages would make, you know. So start building stuff that you can start offloading. Like build a system for your inbox. You know, instead of having 900 unread emails, work out a way that's managed that you can manage your inbox. Work out a way to do that. Build that system because then you're going to be buying more time. Like I've got a filter, anything that says unsubscribe on my emails goes into a completely separate. I don't even see it. I only can look at it if I look for them. You know, so all those people that ask for your email and your phone number, you know, you don't need to look at those emails. They're not important. So like I said, I'm only probably actioning 5 emails a day. That's it.
It's so
So
good. I love that.
yeah.
I'm excited for your email session next
Yeah, I'm gonna do one. Yeah, do one.
program. It's
Yeah.
so good. And final encouragement to everyone, like wherever they're in business, if you had one shot, one opportunity to like bless people into their
Oh,
day, night, afternoon, morning, like what would you say?
um, I'll probably say in business, I'm 10 years now. Next month will be 10 years. I think you got to be firm with everything. You got to be fair and consistent. I think so. Just be like firm with what you like. Pick your non-negotiables and be firm with it, with people, with your customers, with your staff, suppliers. Be fair with it because people make mistakes, and then be consistent. Like don't do one thing for one person and another thing for another person. Be consistent with your decision making. Okay?
Love that.
Is that a good
Uh,
one? Yeah.
Michael Centofanti. We,
Yeah,
we
well done. That's it. You sounded like it was a bit French there, but
yeah, whatever. Thanks for hanging out. Good times.
no
And
worries.
thanks everyone for catching up. And we'll see you soon. That's a wrap on another podcast. Whatever you're doing, don't be too busy to stop and check if you're making money. And above all else, you know the rules. Be kind. See you soon.